And number 40, a 6'10" senior, Colin Gibson.
Welcome in the D Event Center, the side of the 2019 6A Boys State Championship Basketball Tournament on live.ksl and DeseretNews.com. That nightcap of day one, the Layton Lancers, the number 3 team out of Region 1, and American Fork, the number 2 team out of Region 4. Dusty Litzner, Dane Stewart of Deseret News Rewind with you. As always, we are presented by Tosh, the Orthopedic Specialty Hospital. Dane, when we look at Layton, this is a team under Coach Miller that you know is going to play good defense, but they've got to find a way to score some points. But this is a team that certainly has the length and the ability in the tournament to make a run.
And they have some familiarity, Dusty. These two started off the year playing against each other, but you're right. I mean, for Layton, it's going to be how do you keep up the scoring pace with the American Fork Cavemen? And, you know, they return a center and Colin Jepson, good size underneath. And then you look at a guy like Tanner Kofed. He's been one of the leading scorers for the Layton Lancers this year. And then another guy in Potter, Ethan Potter, the sophomore, young man who has really come on, and this is sophomore year, and they do have weapons to score the rock. The question is, will they be able to do it against maybe the biggest team in 6A?
I mean, talk about that team in 6A. Coach Ryan Cuff in his first year at American Fork is about changing the culture. They want to be a team playing together, and they have played together very, very well this year.
They have, and you know, the addition of Tanner Cuff, I think, makes this AF team a little bit different. The other thing that makes them different is a big 6'5" freshman point guard in Moiaki. You couple that with the returning talent of Johnson, as well as Stewart, and the young man we don't talk much about, Hayden Franson, and this AF team is big.
Isaac Johnson opens the game with the 3, and it's 3-0 AF. On the drive, send out to Jacob Randall. He didn't get that opening 3 to drop. Loader now back in the hands of Kofed. Good ball movement here for Coach Miller's squad.
By the way, can I just tell you how much I love the blue-on-blue look of the Layton Lancers? Oh, man, it looks good.
Lob inside to Jepson, and a little too far. And it was Franson coming down with it. Now here's Trey Stewart. Trying to lob that in to Johnson, and it's picked off.
Louder with the steal on the play.
Outside to Louder for 3. And it was on line, but short. Quickly on the push. Good defense, saved in. And throw it up to Big Jepson and let him go bring it down.
Tell you what, AF trying to force or push things here, and Layton stride for stride with them. Defense has been sharp here in the early going.
Into the corner, Louder, try to get into Jepson. Ball slapped away.
And it's one of the things Layton is going to have to adjust to quickly. There's not a lot of guys that can defend Colin Jepson in Region 1. They're just not used to having his size to deny some of those entries. But Isaac Johnson does have that length. Going to have to go about it a little bit differently to try to get Jepson involved.
Jepson over to Cuff. Cuff lob it to Trey Stewart, maybe a little too sharp there, and it's Jepson coming away with it now ahead to Kofed, who has it picked off by Cuff. Cuff going the other way, split the defenders and lay it in.
Really love what he brings to this American Fork team. His ability to hit the shot, and that time out in transition, an early 5-0 lead for American Fork.
30-second timeout taken by Coach Miller. 5:52 left in the first. You're watching the 6A tournament on live.ksl and DeseretNews.com. 5:52 left in the first quarter. 5-point lead for American Fork. And Layton just still looking for that first bucket. Had a couple of looks, couldn't get him to drop. Is Potter sent back up top. Now Kofed Over to Randall. Good ball movement here from the Lancers. Trying to find some way to get things going.
And Isaac Johnson defensively, boy, he's being active. A lot of denial into the post. He fronted Jepson a couple times. They tried that over-the-top entry. He was able to deflect it as Jepson on the bench now. And right now it's Ethan Potter that Johnson defending.
Potter gets inside of Johnson and gets it to go.
And that's a young man. We talked about him in our open, but he's going to have an ability to really mature a lot going up against Isaac Johnson. Johnson, a 4-star recruit, going to the University of Oregon. And, you know, if Ethan Potter can have a successful day, it's going to help his development against a future D1 caliber player.
Trey Stewart gets his own board and a big man's bucket. That was a grown man finish there for the future UVU Wolverine.
I'm talking about development. I mean, Trey this year has become a fantastic all-around player.
And a 3 from Potter is off the mark. It was Moyaki on the board. Here comes Cuff. Down the lane, Cuff can't get that one to go. Johnson with the board, can't get the bucket as Cuff is there to clean it up. And it's 9-2 Cavemen. Three on the way and good from Kofed.
Boy, they needed that. Right? I mean, something to just kind of open up the defense, but talk about opening up the defense. How about attacking before it can get set? It's Mr. Franson.
11-5 the lead for American Fork. And Johnson with the pick. Johnson takes a contact and we'll get a block called on the floor. It'll be AF ball on the baseline.
Man, I was really hoping he was going to finish that. Not because I picked AF to win my bracket, which I did, but because I had a great line that I wanted to throw out there. Show me a big man who can run and shake like this. Little movie line. It's late.
So we'd be punchy as Franson gets that put back in an 8-point lead for AF. Kofed, or pardon me, that is Randall. Now Kofed. Nice take, can't get it to go. It'll be 2 shots here for Kofed.
Jepson there essentially shielding Johnson from the ball. And Moyaki trailing, trying to get there in time and comes through with the contact. Sending Layton here to the line, 2 shots for Kofed.
First free throw good there by Kofed. He's got 1 more. And coming on for Coach Cuff is number 2, McKay Smith. And the free throw good. Cuff trying to send to the corner, nice defense. And Jepson picks it up and hand it off to Potter. Potter down the lane, contested and gets the bucket.
Great recognition by Potter. It's 3-on-3, but you have Johnson trailing on the play, so try to attack the rim before the big man can get down and set up.
It's Stewart from the corner. Stewart blocked, got it back. Trey double clutch and can't get it to go.
I thought there was a grab of the jersey there. Maybe a call that got missed, or maybe my eyes just deceiving me here late.
Is Kofed, send it up top. He'll work it, left hand and a foul to Isaac Johnson. They'll put Kofed at the line for 2 free throws.
I think if you're Layton, that's what I would continue to try to do, is to drive, drive, drive. And I know you're a little shorter than American Fork, but try to gather some contact and try to get AF to be a little more tentative on the defensive end. The first foul on Johnson, he'll have a seat.
Johnson goes to the bench. 6 points here for Kofed, looking for 7 and a 2-point game, and is off the mark. Cuff with the board, quickly on the run here with the Cavemen.
A little 5-0 run put on here by Layton. We'll get this back to one possession here.
Jumper off the mark and the rebound. Claimed by Kofed, and he's fouled once again. That's a third team foul on him, the Cavemen.
All right, you're listening for this one, Dusty. We got a tough pronunciation for American Fork. And our listeners, tell me if I'm wrong. I wrote this one down. Josh Funskovik, the junior for American Fork, with the foul.
I'll take your word for it. There's Stewart sending off into the corner, and it's Cuff floating and scoring down the middle of the lane. And Tanner Cuff, we've talked about him a couple times. I believe he's kind of the guy that makes things go here for AF. You got such talented players in Johnson and Stewart, and Cuff just kind of makes it go.
Well, we've talked a little bit about his ability to really help build that team culture. Is Jepson able to just get good positioning on Franson? First bucket tonight for the senior center for Layton.
As Cuff on the angle, 3 on the way and short. And the rebound to Kofed. On the push. And a foul to Trey Stewart. And that's now the 4th team foul here on AF.
Boy, and with Johnson on the bench, I mean, this AF team looking a little different. And a nice job here by Layton to put a run on. Is Johnson going to come back on the floor here? And I think much needed for American Fork, especially on the defensive end.
Minute 5 left here in the first quarter. As the inbound from Layton. Loader drop it inside. Potter, right hand, and it's a 1-point game, 15-14.
You know, we talked about that first matchup early in the year. It was a lopsided victory for American Fork, and you know, I know AF has lost a couple games since then, but you wonder, do they come into this maybe a little tentative, thinking, oh, this should be easy? Tanner Cuff looking dialed in here in the first.
Cuff now with 6 points in the first quarter.
And in fairness, I don't know that Coach Cuff is really going to allow that mentality to happen. He is as engaged as anybody. But you always wonder some of those blowouts, how they affect that winning team.
Oh, Potter with the board and bucket. Strong first quarter here for Potter. He's got 8 points in the quarter. And he's a sophomore. And luckily I didn't put my foot in my mouth. It's probably his brother I'm recalling immediately off the top of my head. 3 seconds left. 2 in the corner for Moyaki. Short, but right in the hands.
You got it.
Of Funskovik. And that'll do it for the first quarter. At the end of 1, it's American Fork 19, Layton 16. You're watching the 2019 6A state tournament on live.ksl and DeseretNews.com.
Substitution for American Fork, number 12, Hayden Franson, and number 3, Trey Stewart. Ladies and gentlemen, each year the Utah High School Activities Association has sponsored an academic all-state team to recognize those young men and women who have excelled in the classroom as well as in competition. The Deseret News has joined with the UHSAA as title sponsor for this prestigious award. To view this year's academic all-state winners, please visit UHSAA.org.
Start of the second quarter, 3-point lead here for American Fork after Funskovik able to get that bucket as the horn sounded. A jumper from Franson and a rare non-3-pointer, a joke, but Franson there with a long 2, and it's a 5-point Cavemen lead.
Yeah, Hayden Franson's got 6. Oh boy.
Nice job, nice pass to Jepson, and the big fella lays it off the window.
Yeah, and that time, Jepson does a good job of not allowing Johnson to front him, kept him off to the side, allowing a lane for that entry. and Jepson had the step to the rim.
It's Moyaki, left it short, but the rebound in the hands of Franson, and Franson with the quick 4 points.
And you see why I made the comment earlier I did, a young man that we just don't talk enough about. And it's because there's so many headliners on this squad that sometimes those kind of blue-collar, more gritty, hard workers don't get the recognition. And Franson with 8 points, tied for the lead for AF.
How about Potter knocking down another? And Potter now with 10 points.
Yeah, he's been really, really good, and had an injury early in the year he had to fight through, and boy, he has showed up today.
Franson's corner three was 3/4 of the way down and spins out. Layton with a chance to get within one or tied up with a three. Kofed misses on the three, rebound to Cuff. Now Stewart along the baseline. Moyaki left it short, couldn't get it. And now Potter claims the rebound.
Boy, American Fork going a little cold from the floor here. A number of shots that struggled to get to drop.
Kofed thought he'd get the benefit of call and did not. Now on the push with the Cavemen. Stewart. Oh, beautiful dish to Cuff. He leaves it for Moyaki, and Moyaki fouled on the shot. It'll send the freshman to the line for 2 free throws.
He is a young man to keep an eye on. And, you know, with how talented this American Fork squad is, to have the young freshman starting at point guard with the talent around him, number 4 is going to be a big up-and-comer in the state of Utah, and he's already got great size to him for being as young as he is. Of course, that family has some talent on the hardwood as he goes 1 of 2.
Yeah, his sister Taylor Moyaki was the Miss Basketball. Now down at Dixie State. And a steal by Cuff. Quickly ahead to Franson, chased by Potter, and he lays it home.
Number 12, Layton Franson.
So now a 6-point lead for the Cavemen. The Lancers had a couple shots to tie or get within one, couldn't get him to drop, and now trail by 6. Is Kofed. There's a foul on Jepson, and that is number 2 on Jepson. And the big man will come off the floor.
Yeah, gonna have to. That's a costly foul. Really think they need Jepson to have success, and now you'll see Potter have more of that interior assignment. See how he deals on both ends of the floor in the paint.
Dallin Green now comes on for Coach Miller. Got that ball inside. Cuff the float and score.
Number 1,
Tanner Cuff now with 8 points in the half.
10 by my count. Nope.
Fall away Jay from Potter. He's got 12. And it's 28-22 American Fork as that ball goes out of bounds off of Layton. And we'll inbound along the baseline. You want to know dedication about scouting? How about PG played the 11 o'clock game, went home. Oh, nice inbound play. Love the touch from Trey Stewart. Cuff lays it home, but to finish a point. They played 11, they finish, go home, probably got something to eat, maybe a little nap. And the boys in blue are hanging out at the top of the arena tonight.
Do you think that's scouting, or do you think that's region camaraderie?
Scouting.
They already played them twice.
Yeah, I don't know what else you need to learn, unless you just want to see how they played.
I think it's region camaraderie. I mean, we had Coach Evans here earlier today to cheer on PG.
PG and Lone Peak. Yeah, you're right. Maybe you're right. I should ask Coach Mack. I'll just text him and ask him. As Cuff, maybe get away with the walk there. At least the appearance is there. Franson passes it up. Trey Stewart straight away. Crawls off, and the rebound taken by Loader, and Loader draws a foul. It'll be against AF, and it goes on Moyaki.
Foul assistant number 4.
It'll be Layton ball with 4:09 left in the half.
15 foul. Substitution for.
And that'll bring McKay Smith off the bench for Moyaki.
You know, and some of our viewership maybe had some different opinions. Hopefully a lot of you enjoyed that interview with Coach Evans. I thought it was great. A chance to come and get another look at what it's like to coach at a program like Wasatch Academy and what that transition's been like and what they're trying to build there. And I think that's something that really everyone in the state should be proud of what Wasatch Academy is building and representing the state at on a very national stage.
6-point lead for AF. And Johnson hits the corner three, his second triple of the half. Timeout, Coach Cuff, full timeout. You're watching the 2019 6A State Tournament on live.ksl and DeseretNews.com.
UHSAA is proud to partner with the Dairy West, which is comprised of dairy farm families throughout Utah. Dairy farmers have been committed to Utah high school activities for over 30 years, and the devotion remains just as strong today. Please thank your local dairy farmers as we thank them for their support. Get $25 when you open a MyStyle checking account at Mountain America Credit Union. With MyStyle checking, you'll earn rewards like gift cards, cashback, event tickets, and more. For details, visit macu.com. Thanks to the Deseret News for being the title sponsor for the Academic All-State Award. Check out the Deseret News for the best place to read about prep sports. Online at desnews.com. Deseret News, now you know. Stats and standings are available at maxpreps.com, the official stats partner of the UHSAA.
3:38 left in the half. Dusty Litster, Dane Stewart with you here at the D Event Center. Day one of the state tournament. As Layton been hanging around here. Potter send up top to Loader. Randall back to Loader. In the lane, Loader floated over. Johnson can't get it. Cuff pulls down the board. Quickly ahead, Trey Stewart. And a foul. And I believe this will go against Randall. It'll be Trey Stewart at the line, shooting two.
Foul charge for number 2, Jacob Randall, his first. 14.
No, they're caught on the floor. 14th foul on the Lancers.
An important 3:16 here. This lead is 9 for American Fork. AF, I think, Layton needs to keep this in single digits, I think, before the half.
Smith misses on the three.
Of course, they'll have to do that with Jepson on the bench.
And Potter's been the offensive weapon here. 14 first half points here for Potter, young sophomore. As Loader hands back to Randall. Now up top with Kofed. Deep three, and it won't go. Quickly ahead, here's Stewart. Hand back to Johnson. Johnson up all tipped, and now Randall corrals it.
Quick hands for that Layton defense.
Potter toes up a three, back rimmed, and the rebound to Cuff, who quickly sends it ahead to Johnson. Oh, Isaac, nifty pass to Trey Stewart. How about the big fella?
I think he's really rounded out into a really good basketball player this year. And you know, remember in years past looking at Johnson and would be great on the AAU circuit, and then you'd see him on his high school team, and it was almost like he was a bit of a different player on those previous teams. And this year he's running the floor, he's shooting the long ball, he's finding his teammates, and really started to see him being a real big piece of American Fork and one of the key reasons for their success this year.
Foul's gonna go on Kofed on the rebound. And it'll be AF basketball on the baseline. 1:54 left in the half. As Franson comes back on, and Flunskovic will go to the bench. Oh, nice tip. They've ran that a couple of times now, and Cuff. And we got blood on the floor, so we have to clean up the floor for a minute. 1:50 left in the half, and first day of the 6A tournament. We'll be back here on Wednesday.
Injury substitution number 15, Michael.
But Dane, it's been a long one. We got a fun day set up for tomorrow with 6A, or probably 5A. Man, that's been one of those days. But this is an interesting day today to watch kind of how the 6A tournament's going to round out. A little different start to day one than we thought. Although when I think back on our bracketology, we were pretty chalk there for a minute. We thought it'd be a little closer.
Yeah, I think the Westlake one hurts our brackets.
Since you're at mine, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I had Westlake to the semis.
Yeah, yeah. And then the Granger Harriman, we split on that one. But other than that, I don't think we've had a ton of surprises today.
I was just believing in Roller V. I was letting dice roll.
And I'll tell you, I mean, the first quarter and a half was tough for Roller V. And if it wasn't, he set a new career high, and maybe he's able to propel his team into a more competitive game. But needed some more support scoring in that opener as well. Just didn't quite get it.
As that three is off the mark, the backside board and bucket to McKay Smith.
You want support scoring, how about you just look at AF?
Yeah.
I mean, they've got Franson and Cuff with 12 apiece, and then they've got 5 others who have scored.
Coach Miller, he's pretty calm for the most part, but he wanted a foul on the rebound on one end and gets a moving screen on the other, and he's not too pleased. As Smith sends up top to Cuff. It'll be near 1 minute remaining. Gonna leave open three. No, see if AF does pull. And off the mark. A wide open three. Can't complain about that. 45 seconds to go. As Randall hands off Kofed. Randall into the corner. Hard take to the hole. Cuff there to swat it away. That was Parkinson on the drive and Cuff with the swat. And then try to feed it inside the green and a little too tall.
Tanner Cuff, folks. How about that defensive play? Looks like he's beat. He's got him right where he wants him.
I do know no matter what happens, I know where some of his recruiting is. He's got a home to play at the next level. I do know that. 10 seconds to go here in the first half.
And since you know that, I know where that home is.
Inside the arc and rattled home by Trey Stewart. And that's how the first half will end. A strong close to the half here by AF. The K-men go to the locker room up 41-26 on Layton. You're watching the 2019 6A state tournament on live.ksl and DeseretNews.com.
Stop by your nearest Jimmy John's location today to try their new 9-grain wheat sub, made with the best of the best ingredients and baked fresh every day in store. Now available at Jimmy John's near you. Wheat yeah, freak yeah, Jimmy John's. Ladies and gentlemen, for your halftime enjoyment, please welcome your 4-time region champion and top 3 in state, the Layton High Lancels, to the floor. Tonight, they will be performing their camp hip-hop routine to Mic Drop.
I gotta get to the dollar on the hitters and back. Come on, smoking on racks a lot. Ready to rock, come on, clap, come on, clap, come on, clap, 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 come on. This what I do to the head of the chopper, hit the truck back, come on. She like African, I like African.
the Layton High Lancels. The NFHS wants you to know your reason for participating. High school activities allow you to connect to yourself, your community, and your future. Find your place, find yourself, find your reason why. Hashtag my reason why. Ladies and gentlemen, for your information, today's previous games. Harriman defeated Granger, and Pleasant Grove defeated Weaver. Fremont defeated Lone Peak, and Riverton defeated Cypress. Davis was the victor over Westlake, and Kearns over West Jordan. And the previous game, Copper Hills won over Hillcrest. Today's event is being streamed live online and will be available for replay at any time at live.ksl.com. The Utah High School Activities Association is proud to use products from Wilson Sporting Goods. For athletes to perform their best, they require the best, and that's what Wilson has delivered for over 100 years. Learn more at wilson.com. Don't forget to visit the Shirt Stop to pick up your state hoodies, t-shirts, and hats. The Shirt Stop creates and designs the highest quality custom apparel in the state of Utah. If your team or company is looking for retail quality, screen printing, embroidery, or promotional products at a killer price, be sure and reach out to the folks at the Shirt Stop today.
Start of the third quarter. Dusty Litster, Dane Stewart with you. Final game of the first day of the state tournament. Cavemen up 15 points at the half. Dane, it was an amazingly strong close in that second quarter. It was, what, a 3-point game at one point, and 24-21, and then a big spurt.
Yeah, and most of it coming with that man off the floor, Colin Jepson. Whoa,
oh, wow.
Oh, that ball hit the end line.
That was a Kevin Durant-like ish. I have to see the replay on that one.
Now, if he played for the Sonics, I'd slap you, but he doesn't. He only had one glorious year in Seattle.
As some of our younger viewership said, wait, what are you talking about? As Cuff sent out to Trey Stewart. Now up top with Isaac Johnson. Strong take. They're going to give him the bucket. They are. Isaac Johnson with the bump and bucket and his first non-three-pointer.
Just 8 points now for Johnson. But what a strong take. I mean, contact there as he's going up. I thought it was on the shot. I thought it was a good call by the officials. But able to finish through it and a chance for the three-point play.
And the free throw is good. 20-point lead here for the Cavemen. Strong showing, as they believe they're on a collision course, hopefully, to get to the state championship game and possibly meet their nemesis, the Pleasant Grove Vikings. Loader has that ball nearly stolen by Stewart.
Well, one of the interesting things when you consider day one, I mean, Trevin Alfrey tweaked the ankle, right? And you hope that he'll be back for Wednesday and ready to go, but will he be 100%? That's their second round matchup. And then the semi would be Kearns or Davis.
Yeah.
And those are good teams, but neither of them have a matchup for Mr. Johnson. And so I think American Fork, if they get a win here, would be pretty pleased with the way day one has gone in the 6A state tournament.
It is interesting in both brackets. We didn't bring this up in bracketology. The difference in the top part of the bracket and the bottom part of the bracket for both 5A and 6A.
Yeah.
A little different.
Yeah. And that's not meant to be any slight one way or the other.
At all.
But, I mean, you look at the top end, and I do think today changed that a little bit, too. If you would have asked me that last week, I'd say, oh, I think PG's got a punch ticket. But you see the way Harriman played this morning. It's like, okay, well, maybe Harriman can actually do some things against PG that many teams can't. And then, you know, I think that Fremont-Riverton becomes an interesting matchup, but does Fremont have the size to match up with either a PG or a Harriman? I'm not quite certain about that. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
And Stewart's going to draw the foul, and Loader will go on the line for a three-point play. And I think we might have gotten the points on the wrong side of the board there.
His second, first team foul. On the line, Ryan Howard for the bonus shot.
And Loader misses the +1. So we'll see if they change the board. Our unofficial board, we got 46-30. Am I reading that right? Yep. There's a three on the way from Moyaki.
I'm trying to do a quick reconciliation here.
So Moyaki now with 6.
See, I only have him with 4, so maybe that's my bad.
And now inside, or probably the corner, 2 from Kofed.
8 points now for Tanner. Talk about Potter. He really carried the load in that first half. Jepson with the foul trouble only has 6, and 2 of those coming in the second half. The foul there going to go on Franson on the rebound.
As that foul on Franson is the first team foul and his first personal foul. So now Kofed up the floor. 19-point advantage, and Potter, that great first half, misses on that one. And Cuff on the push. Now in the corner, Cuff, skip, nearly stolen, and there it is. Quickly ahead, Randall with Stewart, try to shield it. And the putback is good by Kofed.
I thought that ball should have gone off the glass from the very beginning. It's a nice hustle back by Stewart. Layton had a couple trailers, able to get the finish.
As Cuff, junction jumper doesn't go, and the rebound to Potter. Quickly ahead to Randall. Randall right into Stewart, and a charge. Stewart got squared up on him, and Randall hit with the charge.
Number 2, Jacob Randall, his second free foul. Checking in for American Fork.
As that will bring McKay Smith and Van Skolvik off the bench for Coach Cuff. Quickly ahead here, McKay Smith. Now Trey Stewart into the corner to Funskovic. Now up top, Smith. Now Stewart for 3, back rim. And that's going to go on Tanner Cuff. That'll be his first personal.
His first 13th.
Dusty, I mean, we're second half of the last game. What'd you learn on day 1 of the tournament?
That the 3 and 4 seed from Region 4, maybe Region 4, you know, though it was really, really deep and really, really good, wasn't as dominant as we thought we'd see here in a state tournament, as Kofed kissed that one off the window. I'm impressed with Fremont. I thought Fremont was really, really good. I thought that was one of the toughest first-round games you can get. And very impressed with the way that Davis handled business with Westlake going to overtime, as Coach Cuff takes a timeout, 30-second timeout. Oh, it is full timeout, so we'll take it with him. 3:14 left in the third. You're watching the 2019 6A tournament.
Did you know that every dairy in Utah is family-owned? On behalf of Utah dairy farmers, we want to congratulate all the teams competing in this year's state tournaments. Healthy bodies start with great nutrition, and choosing milk is a great way to get the nutrients you need. Learn more at dairywest.com. Mountain America Credit Union is proud to be the new title sponsor of the UHSAA. Visit macu.com for more information, and thank you, Mountain America.
Out of the timeout, 3:14 remaining in the third quarter, and a 17-point lead for American Fork. Kofed sent back to Potter. Now Jepson jumps and scores it.
Number 40, Colin Jepson.
Like right now, if you're Layton, you're thinking back on that first half and asking, what if? What if Jepson didn't have to go to the bench with the foul trouble? Be able to keep this game a little bit closer, but in the way that AF, their talent, it's just hard to come back on them once you concede a double-digit lead. And unless you're PG.
Oh boy. Isaac Johnson flying through, and the alley-oop. And now a steal. Oh, a little more showtime. Trey Stewart.
I thought that lob from Cuff was a little hard, but Trey Stewart delivering.
How about that last 15 seconds of gameplay?
Yeah.
Potter on the other end can't get it. A rebound claimed by Isaac Johnson. Lob City action here. And Stewart on the other end can't get it. Jepson with the rebound on the run now with the Lancers, as Kofed down the lane is fouled by Trey Stewart. But no, kind of go back to the thought we had before that timeout. I really was impressed that Fremont able to beat Lone Peak, and I thought Davis showed some of the best basketball they played in a couple of years. in a state tournament. Really, Westlake was a very, very good team. But what it takes me back to is Region 4, yes, very, very tough, but surprised you got the, well, right now you look at the top 2 seeds, the only ones moving out onto the state tournament.
You know, and there was a lot of talk, and I mean, we participated in that. Maybe the top 5 teams in 6A coming from Region 4. There were 5 teams in that region.
Yeah.
And after the first day of the state tournament, you know, some of us that maybe thought that during the course of the year, maybe we short-ended some of the other regions in the state.
I think what it was I think top to bottom, everybody would agree. Region 4, all 5 teams should make the state tournament. The difference was is how good is the top parts of these other regions, well, mainly right now, Region 1, that where they could finish. And Fremont played really, really well against Lone Peak, pulled away at the end, and Davis, Westlake, I mean, you're neck and neck, 2 and 3 seeds.
Yeah.
But I'm impressed with what we're seeing from American Fork. Their brand of basketball really does translate well to a state tournament. It's +1 on this end for the Lancers.
You know, and it's one of the things where, gosh, I would have loved to have been able to see one of those AF-PG games. It was the game, and you know, PG swept the series. And when you watch AF play, it's like, how does that happen? And I'm not saying that PG isn't good, but PG had double-figure leads in both of those games. And when you watch this AF team, you're like, how does someone get up double figures on this group? Because they look really, really talented.
Beautiful ball movement and another lob, and Franson lays it in.
And I'm sure some of the PG fans are like, well, we don't let that to happen. You know, that's why, you know, that's what Van Coman's for. Dane, have you ever watched us?
You know, because it's probably the only team in this state, and it is, I'll say it, is the only team in the state in their 2-3 zone that is longer than AF.
Yeah.
The only one. And
well, and when you take away that penetration from American Fork and turn them into jump shooters, you know, how good are they? And I think a guy like Cuff and Stewart are. I think Johnson has that ability too and has been so more consistently. But you take AF out of their offense that comes at the rim against a lot of these other teams.
No, it's absolutely true. Well, you saw in the first half here with Jepson before the foul trouble, not that they had issues, but you saw just that difference where Layton all of a sudden was as long as American Fork in a half-court set.
Things have come a little easier for American Fork since that point.
Right. Just different.
Yeah.
I mean, you take Van Coman off the floor and put Derek Church in, I think there's a touch of difference.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's not a knock on Church, it's just the fact that Van Coman's 10 feet long.
Yeah, I mean, that's a different wingspan.
Right. As Potter gets the bump and bucket.
Basket is good.
And he'll go to the line looking for the three-point play and make this a 15-point game.
His second 17th on the line for 1, Ethan Potter.
And Ethan can't get that to go. And should mention that's his only points here in the second half, where he had 14 in the first half. There's a steal. Can he get it before the buzzer? We got a foul before the buzzer. And we'll have uncontested free throws here for Kofed before we head to the fourth quarter. And the foul goes on Franson. That's number 3 on Franson. And I'm trying to figure out the discussion here is Kofed does have.
I was guessing they were wondering if there should be time on the clock or not.
0.8 seconds on the last 2 free throws.
That's exactly what it was. So they end up putting more time on the clock so it won't be empty lanes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
On the line, shooting 2.
And again, didn't need a monitor to do it.
How about that, huh? Yeah. Officials can make decisions. You should come to the high school level to do it.
I shouldn't have done it. Yeah, I just put that. I wasn't even on a tee. I just soft tossed it.
Doesn't it bug you, though?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you go to a college basketball game or a pro game, and it's just like, oh, my, you know, I got places to be tonight.
It's not even to me, it's just the framework. We got a lot of thoughts of how to fix college basketball. Is that first free throw no good? The second one is. And it's Cuff. Didn't quite get it. At the end of 3, it is American Fork 59, Layton 43. You're watching the 2019 6A basketball tournament on live.ksl and DeseretNews.com.
Thanks to the School Activities Association. Stop by your nearest Jimmy John's location today and try their new 9-grain wheat sub, made with the best of the best ingredients and baked fresh every day in store. Now available at Jimmy John's near you. Wheat yeah, freak yeah. Jimmy John's. Visit maxpreps.com for stacks, schedules, rosters, and more. Max Preps, America's source for high school sports. The benefits of high school sports and activities extend beyond the four corners of the field and walls of the auditorium. From lifelong lessons in hard work, perseverance, and teamwork to leadership skills and citizenship. Learn more about the NFHS My Reason Why campaign at nfhs.org/myreasonwhy. Watch a replay of today's event for free online at live.ksl.com.
Start of the fourth quarter. I want to remind you, our scoreboard brought to you by Heidemann Associates, and they are dedicated to winning for their clients. No matter if you need help drafting your will, taking care of your estate planning, protecting your business, or even a personal injury, it's a full-service law firm with Heidemann Associates. Give them a call today at 801-472-7742. Cuff, beautiful find to Franson, and there's a foul on Jepson. That'll be number 3 on Jepson. And I'll put France in the line for 2 free throws.
I think that's one of the things when you look at what American Fork is under Coach Cuff, and that's the difference. Is it's more of a team. You see the ball move more. It doesn't get stuck. There's an unselfishness to this group that just hasn't been there in recent years. And I mean, this is really the same core of a team that did not make the playoffs last year. And I mean, you talk about, you know, the difference and what Coach Cuff has brought to this unit. Just remarkable of how much this team has evolved in a year.
Inside of Jepson, takes the bump, gets the bucket, and now we'll go on Johnson. That is number 2.
Basket is good.
You know, it's amazing because remember, we mentioned in the bracketology, it was a play-in game. Westlake AF.
Yeah.
Number 40, Colin Jepson.
And Westlake took that playing game all the way to the semis. As Jepson gets the free throw and makes it a 13-point game. Quickly ahead, here's Trey Stewart. Stewart to Franson, and Franson able to finish at the rim.
Number 12, Hayden Franson.
Push it back up to 15. Potter sent out the loader. Now Jepson. Here's Kofed. Kofed sent back up top. Fall away Jay, a little wide and off the mark. From Brandt on the run now. Trey Stewart to the rim. Doesn't get the finish. Now on the run with Layton. Here's Potter. Give it up to Jepson, and the big fella lays it off the window.
Young man that I'm going to miss covering, Colin Jepson, a couple years that he's been on varsity. And I mentioned sat out part of that second quarter when AF really put their run together, but man, he's been good tonight. 13 points for Colin, and he's done a nice job with the bigs from American Fork. Is that one, I've never seen a ball bounce off the floor quite like that.
As Johnson goes the other way.
Number 33, Isaac Johnson.
Timeout on the floor, 30-second timeout. We'll stay here. As the Cavemen with the 15-point lead, and you mentioned it, thought we'd have a kick ball there, but Dame, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but how this 6A tournament's starting to shape out. Let's take a look at this second round, and at the top of the bracket, Harriman Lone Peak, or Harriman PG. Interesting game of how that can go.
You know, that's actually the thing that I learned today. You know, just we go around the state, we cover a lot of different teams. We haven't seen Harriman play in the last 3 weeks of the season. But you look at the games that they were putting together, and it's like, okay, so what is Harriman? And I think this morning we saw what Harriman is. And I think Harriman is a really scary team for PG. And you talk about matchups, and I know there are some people out there in, Valhalla who think I have this gripe to pick with Pleasant Grove. I don't. I love PG. Love Coach McAllister, Casey Brown, Van Coleman. That lineup is good. But when you think about, what has been able to beat Van Coleman and PG in recent years, it's physical play underneath. You think back to Springville. I know they lost that game in overtime, but a young man who was just 6'5", able to body Matt Van Coleman. Does Blake Freeland present that option for Harriman? And with the way they shot from the outside today, and Burgess and Peterson underneath, JL Vaughn, is that a team that maybe can match up? And hey, I mean, if this is bulletin board material for PG, you're welcome. But I think that second round matchup, Harriman-PG, is going to be closer than I would have thought that game would have been before the tournament started.
When we did bracketology?
Yeah. I mean, I thought PG would just kind of walk over them. But after seeing Harriman today, I mean, my perspective is, that game maybe becomes a little more interesting. Am I crazy?
Oh my goodness, another lob to Franson. No, you're not. And it's back up to a 15-point game here for AF. And that's what's so fun about this AF team. We talked about the difference. It's that ball comes out of the hoop, right down the floor, and you're getting a lob at the rim. And you're finishing with power as Johnson gets a steal on that entry pass.
Again, good denial. Just see the length of Isaac Johnson. It's one of those things where, again, that works against a lot of teams. Might struggle with that against Van Coleman because he's got a longer wingspan than Johnson.
And Cuff, lob it up, and Johnson was going for really the highlight reel on that one.
In fairness, that was left-handed.
And Coach Cuff's like, you can't let him do that, but timeout granted to Coach Miller. 5:09 left to the fourth quarter, full timeout taken. Cavemen lead 66-51. You're watching the 2019 6A state tournament on live.ksl and DeseretNews.com.
Utah High School Activity Association is proud to use products from Wilson Sporting Goods. For athletes to perform their best, they require the best, and that's what Wilson has delivered for over 100 years. Learn more at wilson.com. Don't forget to visit the shirt stop to pick up your state hoodies, t-shirts, and hats. They create, design, highest quality custom apparel in the state of Utah. If your team or company is looking for retail quality screen printing, embroidery, or promotional products at a killer price, be sure to reach out to the folks at the shirt stop today.
.08 left in the fourth quarter. Cavemen leading by 15. Up top with Jepson, big fella for three, doesn't get it. And it's a rebound to Smith. Quickly head to Cuff. Franson. Oh, Johnson, what another lob. His legs got plenty of spring left.
Every time that ball goes down to Franson, John's like, up, I got it.
He's calling for it right now even. There it is. Johnson, step through and hammer dunk. His legs were quivering, not because he was nervous, but because he was like, I'm ready to go. Like, springs are loaded. Let's do this.
In fairness, there have been a couple rims or a couple backboards busted in the state this year, and Isaac Johnson hasn't done that yet, trying to do it here at Weber. Of course, these are a little different than, 60-year-old gyms.
Hey, how about Randall from deep? Cuts this down to 14. Now, one in game, one in practice this year.
Both in Region 2.
That's right. You're running hating on Region 2. We're breaking backboards over there.
I know. Come on, get with the times,
Although,
folks.
rather, the one was in a Region 2 gym. But
they were both Region 2 gyms.
I know, Region 2 gym. One was a practice, Kearns practice. The other one was a Region 12, Mountain View dunk in Region 2.
Yeah.
As Johnson Multiple moves on Jepson, lost the handle, got it back. Here's Smith. Nice drive and finish. McKay Smith bumps it back up to 16. Randall try to go a little dipsy-do and block from Smith and out of bounds off of Randall. And it'll be Caveman ball.
And number 5, Josh Van Scoven.
You know, one coach I've got to talk to about the RPI with is Coach Miller. I think he'll be quite pleased with the RPI.
You know, just go play a good schedule and you have nothing to worry about.
Well, one is that preceding against Region 4 is one thing I'm sure he will be pleased to get away from. Kind of I was going with that one.
Yeah, definitely could be the case.
Of course, Coach Miller and former CEU Golden Eagle.
And you know what that brings with it, don't you?
A lot of bias.
I was going to say tied for number 1 in Dusty's heart.
He and
with all
Skylar,
other Price folk.
He and Skylar Wilson, yeah. Mainly because I watched Skylar. I did see Kelby play, but I was just really young. He played in some great teams in the early 90s. In fact, I think he probably played against Dallin Hall's dad when he was at Slick. But I watched Skylar Wilson light it up in Price for 2 years. 1 year in particular, sophomore year.
You know, and this is, I mean, we interact with a lot of coaches on a regular basis. I just forget how tall Skylar Wilson is. I mean, I'm down on the floor and I'm like, did you grow, man? Like, you got lifts in your shoes? Man.
As Potter goes to the line and hits the first. And we do deal with a lot of tall people. One of my favorite videos we have, and I got to get a picture, is us interviewing Matt Van Komen. I showed it to one of my friends, and he was like, is this real? Like, you have him on a different chair? I'm like, no. Like, if I could have, I would have had a hydraulic chair for us and had him in a stool. That was amazing. And a timeout taken by Coach Kelby Miller. Full timeout. 2:58 left in the fourth quarter. You watch the 2019 6A state tournament on live.ksl and DeseretNews.com. .15 lead.
You know, we were talking about a lot of height, and all I know is, you know, some people say, well, anyone could play if they're that tall. All I know, if I was as tall as Matt Van Komen or Isaac Johnson or some of these other guys, I still would have been no good at this game. I could be honest.
You know, as Moyaki blocked at the rim by Potter. Loader. We're going to get a foul on the drive there. It'll be against American Fork. It'll be a double bonus anyway, so it'll be 2 free throws still.
Fouls on number 1, Tanner Cuff, his second. On the line for 2 shots, number 10, Ryan Lauder. Substitution for number 3, Landon Brandt.
As Jepson comes off the floor, possibly the last time here for Colin Jepson. Don't know if Coach Miller put him back in. As the free throw was good by Loader. As Cuff going to run it up the floor. Smith. Sent to the corner. Vanskovic. And Coach Cuff asking him to spread out the floor as Smith goes hard to the hole and draws a foul on Potter. It'll put Smith at the line.
And number 35, Ethan Potter, his second 16th foul. On the line for 2 shots, McKay Smith. Substitution for number 40, Paula Jepson.
And Smith hits both free throws. Lead back up to 16. Nice take by Kofed, but couldn't finish, and Smith now with the rebound. But let's look at the other ones. You get the battle of the Silver Wolves, Fremont and Riverton. That's an interesting ball game. I'm very intrigued by that one.
Yeah, I think Riverton going to have to really play maybe their best defensive game of the year. I mean, we saw Dallin Hall score all 16 points in a quarter for his Fremont Silver Wolves, and Baylor Harrop had a day that he would love to try again, and he'll have that chance on Wednesday. Tyke Voorhees didn't ever quite get going either. A lot of scorers for Fremont. Riverton has some scorers in their own right. When you look at McDonald, Applegate, but I really think that Riverton defense is going to have to be sharp in that one.
Yeah, it's going to be, I'm just curious. Down Hall, it took him a little bit to get going, and 17 points in that third quarter, all 17 Fremont points in the third quarter, just doing Dallin Hall things. Davis and Kearns is an interesting one as well, as Potter can't get that one to drop. The rebound to Jepson, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of people today were probably underwhelmed by Kearns. And, you know, you look at what they did and who they went up against, and it was no shock that West Jordan going to try to just take the air out of the ball. And I thought they had a great game plan going up against Kearns. And in the end, Kearns was able to win out. Cole Lake, the senior, really kind of took things over in the fourth quarter. And to me, the question just becomes, how healthy can you get Emmanuel Andrew between now and Wednesday? I don't know that he'll be 100%. And then can you get Kearns to get the ball on the inside? And they settled for a lot of three-pointers today, struggled shooting from range. I think that's going to be the big thing. If Davis plays like they did in that first round, you could see Davis getting to the semis in this thing.
Let's go back from the corner. And I agree, and I think maybe for Kearns it's a little bit of a wake-up call, and maybe they come out a little more fired up to play against Davis, a little more focused, as Jepson, a strong finish there.
I think the benefit you have is, you know, Davis is not going to play like West Jordan did. They're going to try to run up and down the floor a little bit. It'll be at a tempo that is more to the liking of Kearns. But they got to make shots to set up their D. And, I mean, you can say what you want about slowing it up. They did not make enough shots today against West Jordan. They'll have to be better on Wednesday.
And timeout taken by Coach Miller, only 30 seconds. We'll stay here. No, I completely agree. It'll be very interesting. Now, the next one. Oh, they got to fix the scoreboard. No, we got to fix the scoreboard, but I completely agree. It's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see that ball move from Davis, what it does to Kearns, but if Kearns can come out and score quickly. Copper Hills, American Fork, that is all Trevin Alfrey. Where is Trevin Alfrey on Wednesday with this foot? Because it did not look good. He did not play the second half.
Yeah, you know, the difficult thing with ankle sprains is how severe is it? And that's the big question, you know, and you could tell it hobbled him. He tried to tighten up, you know, his shoelaces, and you know, he just did not look 100%. And between now and Wednesday, how healthy can you get that thing? They need Trevin Alfrey to be able to compete with American Fork. And if they don't have Alfrey, you know, how do you deal with the display that we've seen today, which is buckets at the rim with multiple guys? Johnson, Franson, Cuff. Got to have Alfrey in that ball game. And if he's not 100%, I think that becomes difficult for Copper Hills to be able to find enough offense, but really on the defensive side of things to try to slow up American Fork.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to watch what happens in that one. And the thing is, Copper Hills plays a good enough defense as a team. It becomes intriguing. but it is. If Alfrey can't move, I don't know who Stone Hutchings is going to get the call on Isaac Johnson.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that we didn't talk about in that first game, but they have a young sophomore big, plays a lot for JV. We've seen him in limited minutes for varsity, and you could think, oh, well, maybe you bring him on. Yeah, he was in a boot. He ain't going Wednesday either. So, you know, where's the depth going to be at that center position for Copper Hills? And I mean, they've got a lot of wings. Can you teach one of them to play big in 2 days? A day now.
Yeah, so Detling and Stone Hutchings all of a sudden. But there's just such a mismatch here with American Fork. It's going to be very intriguing to watch Wednesday's game to see how it all kind of shakes itself out. As Colin Jepson leaves the last time as a Layton Lancer and gets a big hug from his coaching staff. And that's a young man that's put in a lot of work, has had a very good career for Coach Miller.
Yeah. He'll be a kid that'll have opportunities, I think. You know, it might be a Slick, it might be a JC or a D2, but he's a young man. I think certainly has the talent to go play basketball and have his education taken care of.
And Coach Miller takes his final, well, I guess he has one more. Full timeout, we'll take it with him. You're watching the 6A state tournament on live.ksl and DeseretNews.com.
Stop by your nearest Jimmy John's location today and try their new 9-grain wheat stuff, made with the best of the best ingredients and baked fresh every day in store. Now available at Jimmy John's near you. Wheat yeah, freak yeah, Jimmy John's. Visit maxpreps.com for stats, schedules, rosters, and more. Max Preps, America's source for high school sports. Watch a replay of today's event for free online at live.ksl.com. And don't forget to visit the shirt stop to pick up your state hoodies, t-shirts, and hats. And if you're looking for a retail quality screen printing, take a look at the shirt stop.
Welcome back in. Closing 30 seconds here of the first round of the 6A state tournament. Final game of the night, game number 8. As AF gonna move on to the second round as that ball is out of bounds and we'll go back down the floor with Layton with 24.6 to go. And wanted to give Loader a chance to come off and get clapped off by family. As these seniors will be playing their last game for Layton Lancers. And that shot off the mark. But Potter with the rebound, and Potter now with
25, Carter Mayfield.
Oh, probably has Mayfield on the bucket, not 35. 2 seconds, 1 second, and that'll do it. American Fork with a very good 12-point win over Layton. Dan, your thoughts on the player of the game selection?
Well, I think American Fork was impressive from the start, and Layton did a great job hanging with them early. You know, Jepson being off the floor in that second quarter really helped AF that 20-10 scoring advantage in the quarter. And you know, Layton makes a late push to get this thing back to 12 being the final deficit, but in the end, the length, the size, and the ability of American Fork, I think they showed tonight they are a contender for a state championship and a very well-earned victory for the Cavemen.
Player of the game.
I wasn't really prepared for this. You know, I think there's a couple different places we could go. Hayden Franson had a terrific game tonight. I really thought Tanner Cuff in that second quarter really helped to distance American Fork. I think he did some good things defensively, shared the basketball a lot. I'm going to go with Tanner Cuff as our player of the ball game.
I agree. Cavemen with an 80-68 win over Layton. They'll move on to the second round. Thanks for joining us all day today. 8 games in, 8 games tomorrow for Bill Francis and Dane Stewart. I'm Dusty Litster. Thanks for joining us and watching the 2019 6A State Tournament on live.ksl, DeseretNews.com. Commentary brought to you by Tosh, the Orthopedic Specialty Hospital. Scoreboard brought to you by Heinemann and Associates.